Hi Zayden, this is a review of your lesson from Friday, April 30th of 2021. And in this lesson, we went ahead and did the entire scale. This would actually be at the top of page 74 of the green book. I gave you these exercises on Friday. So you'll want to get to this page here, where we're going to start from low G, go all the way up to high A, and then back down. From prior to this, we've been starting on high A and working down, but you are ready to start from low G. So to get ready for this, I want you to get your fingers situated on a solid low G. Go ahead and take a moment to test it, right? Make sure that this pinky finger is on solidly and none of these fingers are shifting or in the wrong place to make things not sound clear, right? So go ahead and do that. You want it to sound nice and deep, like that. So get ready. And I'm going to set the metronome on not a very fast pace. The purpose of this is to play nice and controlled and relaxed. So you can hear this in the background, not terribly fast. I'll give you a ready 1, 2, just like we do in band. And we'll start with the low G. So ready, 1, 2. Now, it's okay if you weren't exactly on the beat on those, but that is the goal, all right? One of the other things you might have noticed is that I take a breath when I need one. It might be in the middle of a note. That's okay. I want you to try to get in the habit of doing that. Let's do that scale again, starting from low G. Get your fingers ready. I'll start it. It'll be on 3. Ready? 1, 2. All right, if you want to play along with the video on that over and over, that's great. Otherwise, let's go ahead and move on. One of the other things that you did today is it's on the yellow sheet of paper that I wrote on, and it had this scale or exercise where you start on D and you go up to, you go from D to E, D to E, then you go D to F, D to F, D high G, D high G, and then D high A, D high A. And it's super important when you're doing this to say the notes in your mind, if at all possible. You really should be doing that to help you learn the note names. So I want you to get your fingers in the D position. All the top hand fingers are on. You can even check that, right? Right, make sure none of these guys are kind of off, like we don't want this sound, right? Right, we don't want that. So check for that, make sure it's good. D position, just the pinkies on, thumbs on right in the back, and keep the hand relaxed. All right, so we're going to follow the same metronome beat. It'll be just switching off D from D to whatever note. So first we'll go D to E. Ready? Ready? 1, 2. Okay, if that was too fast, you can go ahead and slow down the video playback time. Let's try it again. So ready? 1, 2. All right. right, feel free to go ahead and play that back as often as you like. Definitely try to match me on that the best you can. But more importantly is just be as accurate as possible and say the notes in your mind as you play them. Okay, the last thing that we did was played around with some GDE triplets again. This is at the bottom of the page that had the scales on it, right? It was just down here. And we didn't actually play exactly what was on here. We didn't go ahead and play a GDE triplet on every note. What I did want you to pay attention to is the notation. You have this tiny little grace note here. That's the very first sound your chanter makes. It's a G grace note. In this case, it's to low G. I think at the lesson you actually played it to low A, which is fine. That would be like this G grace note to low A. So that's the G grace note, and then there's a D grace note to low A, and an E grace note to low A. Hence the GDE triplet nomenclature. And we talked about how once you see that and you recognize it, it's not like you have to sit there and inspect it every time and make sure it's a GDE. Yes, you want to know that, but you don't. If it's a GDE triplet, that's how it's going to look. So for this purpose, we were talking about just having fun with a speed exercise. But the key to this is, now you don't have a metronome at home available to you. So what I want to do is play the triplets in the background for you to kind of get an idea of what we're aiming for. Now, you can certainly do these speed exercises on your own, but you can hear this in the background. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. Each little tick mark would be a blip of your grace note fingers. So it might sound something like this. I'll say, ready, 1, 2. Now, that's not a bad thing to play along with to get the hang of it. That happens to be 40 beats per minute of jig time, but it's broken down into triplets, as you could hear. Let's try that one more time just to get into the zone, listening to the GDE little blip, blip, blip that you can hear in the background. So, ready? 1, 2. Okay, so that of course is not a speed exercise. We're not speeding up. We're just playing it nice and steadily. So that's a good thing to work on. And of course you want to always be ready in the low A position when we start these. The next thing I want to demonstrate is how a speed exercise might start and finish. With the speed exercise, you need to start extremely slowly, way slower than what we just did. So you have somewhere to go. You need to have somewhere to ramp up to, right? And the rule with speed exercises is you stop as soon as you fail. It's okay to fail. It doesn't mean it's bad. It actually means you're learning. So don't worry about that. But fail, you stop, you go back to the beginning and start slowly and ramp up the speed again. So a speed exercise on a GDE triplet might sound something like this. Now in that exercise, I actually ramped up the speed and then slowed down. You are not required to do the slowing down part. I would prefer that you ramp up the speed until you reach failure, stop, and start again. Have fun.